upside-down human head. What I experienced. It wasn't exactly a roller coaster of ups and downs, or anything overly dramatic, but it left an extremely deep impression on me. From childhood, all sorts of weird things happened around me, until the summer of ninth grade when they abruptly stopped. After that, I never saw or personally experienced anything like it again. It might have something to do with what happened that year in ninth grade. If there's something that strings all my experiences together, it's probably a single figure. Calling it a person isn't quite accurate. It was a humanoid object. The incidents were concentrated in 2 periods, 3rd grade of elementary school and 9th grade. My family lived on the campus of a university in Nanjing. We've moved 3 times so far. At first, we lived in a single-story bungalow. Later, we moved to the 4th floor. By the end of 9th grade, we were on the ground floor. There were too many trivial strange occurrences, so I'll just pick the ones that left the deepest impression, those related to that shadowy figure, that still give me chills when I think about them in detail. One night in 3rd grade around 8 p.m., I ran out of pages in my homework notebook. Back then, things were different from now. No supermarkets, no on-demand delivery, so I had to go buy one myself at the department store. Our bungalow was the 8th in a row of single-story houses. To leave, I walked out the door, followed the path to the first house, then down a slope. At the bottom of the slope was a platform, with another row of bungalows below. From the platform, another short descent led to the main road. The store was right on the edge of that road. By the way, the famous calligrapher Lin Sanji lived in the row of bungalows below ours. I even picked up some of his discarded calligraphy. The key point is, the entire route had no streetlights. We relied on moonlight, light from other homes, and since the environment was good back then, there were plenty of fireflies. I knew the path well, so I wasn't really scared. I clutched 50 cents in my hand. When I reached the spot by the first bungalow, I saw a person standing there. The image is burned into my memory. Even now, I can still picture the scene. How to describe it? A tall figure, completely black. Why could I tell he was black in such darkness? Because his entire body emitted a faint yellowish glow, strikingly visible in the dark. His black wasn't true black, felt like a void, like a dark spot inside a halo of light. Most bizarrely, the summer cicadas, crickets, everything went completely silent. The surroundings became unnaturally quiet. I could even hear my own breathing. Thinking back, this seemed to be an effect that came with the black shadow. Every time I encountered it, the same thing happened, because I was young and didn't think too deeply about it. For an elementary student, homework and parents were absolute priorities. I just said sorry and walked around him, heading down to the lower platform. Once there, I looked back up. He was still there, unmoving, still glowing, even his posture unchanged. I reached the main road, and suddenly all the sounds rushed in. Bicycles, vendors, people strolling, like a tide flooding my ears. I bought the notebook at the store, but then I hesitated. I was starting to feel scared. Going back meant passing that spot again, or I could take a long detour to another far-off entrance. That led to the other end of our row of bungalows. That path was also pitch black and unfamiliar. Luckily, I ran into an uncle from our row, pushing his bicycle home from work. I was thrilled and walked back with him. Naturally, the figure was gone from the platform. I scanned the entire area, all the way to the end of the road, no glow. As I mentioned earlier, opposite our house was a wild hill, very dark, densely vegetated. No one would likely venture in there at night. I hadn't been gone long to buy the notebook. If he had walked along the only road, the one toward our house, he couldn't have disappeared so quickly, especially at night. With weak light from household windows, fewer on the road, I would definitely have seen him, but in reality, he had simply vanished. Unless he entered someone's house. But these are thoughts I had later. Back then I was pretty carefree. The uncle lived further in than us, so I reached home first and went inside. I told my mom about it. She asked if it might have been someone with a flashlight. I said no. The light came from his entire body. Years later, when I brought it up again, My mom suggested maybe he was wearing reflective running gear, and light from the first house's window reflected off him. I thought about it. It made some sense, but it wasn't like that at all. Besides, reflective running clothes weren't common back then, because the figure was pure black, with a faint yellow glow emanating from outside it. At the time, the incident didn't shock me much. Only later did it seem frightening. Compared to the next event, this one pales in comparison. The second incident happened not long after I saw that strange thing. I attended the university's affiliated elementary school. Only children of faculty and staff went there, so there weren't many students. The school consisted of bungalows. Elementary was split into lower and upper grades in separate areas. I was a two-stripe student, the propaganda committee member. After school, I stayed in the classroom to draw the blackboard newspaper, since lower grades dismissed earlier. By the time I finished, the campus was nearly empty. Just me, 3 friends, the gatekeeper grandpa, and 1 or 2 cleaning ladies. Of the 3 friends, A and I were boys. I told me he needed to pee. In elementary school, the ultimate sign of friendship was going to the bathroom together. I suspect he might have been scared of the dark. It was summer, the sky still red with sunset, but inside the building it was dim. The toilets were at the very back of the school. Since lower grades had no evening classes, there were no lights, only natural light from outside the half-open walls. By then it was quite dark. I need to describe the toilet's layout a bit. Modern people might not know what old-school toilets looked like. The squat pits were one long trench, divided left and right by a high wall. Boys on the left, girls on the right. Small partitions split the trench into individual stalls. The toilet flushed periodically, water flowing from the boys' side to the girls'. I mention this because the trench connected the 2 sides. Once, a stray cat fell into the girls' side and crawled through to the boys' side. We fished it out. A and I went in and stood at the urinals. Suddenly, everything became eerily quiet. Just outside the toilet wall was a main university road. Not bustling, but at that hour, there were plenty of people and bicycle bells. I immediately felt chills. A strange sensation shot from my feet to my head. I had already finished. He pulled up his pants, but didn't move. After a pause, he whispered, "Hey, do you feel like there's someone in the toilet?" My hair stood on end. For some reason, I instantly thought of the black figure. I turned to look around. He did too. Then he froze and said, "Look." He pointed to the high wall separating the boys' and girls' sides. At the base of the wall, an upside-down human head was protruding from the girls' side, watching us. More precisely, the upper half. The lower half was blocked by the wall, like someone lying on top of a fence, peering into a yard, only showing half a head and eyes, but completely inverted. Thinking back, it was an impossibly difficult pose. Even now, I don't understand how it was done. The wall was smooth, no way to grip with hands or feet. Unless he was handstanding, palms braced on either side of the squat pit, slowly lowering his head. Judging by the head size, it was an adult. I wonder if anyone was on the girl's side. A bald, shiny head with vacant eyes, like a nauseating corpse. But we both felt he was staring at us. We were utterly terrified. The visual shock was overwhelming. Now, I'm a medical PhD graduate. I've seen plenty of cadavers as a teaching assistant. I fall asleep to ghost stories and unsolved cases. It's routine. But every time I recall this, I get goosebumps all over. We screamed and bolted out of the toilet. The 2 girls were standing outside the door, chatting, waiting to walk home together. Suddenly, all the sounds returned. Traffic on the road outside, wind rustling the trees, flooding back into our ears. We told the girls what we saw. They didn't believe us and insisted on seeing for themselves. Since the head came from the girls' side, they ran in to check. They were gone a long time, then came out saying they saw nothing, and mocked us. During that time, a cleaning lady went in to sweep and urged us to hurry home, or we'd be locked inside when the gates closed. I'm pretty sure the lady didn't see anything. Otherwise, she'd have screamed and run out. But here's the strange part. I'm absolutely certain we saw it. Is too. Even recently, I met up with it. and we talked about this childhood incident. He said it left him with shadows for a long time. So, what exactly was that upside-down bald head we saw as kids?